Welcome back to the Communist Podcast. I'm Diego Flores, and today we're diving into the effects that Vladimir Lenin and Fidel Castro had on their respective countries and the world. So, I'll start off with Fidel Castro. He was the main leader of the Cuban Revolution, which had started on July 26, 1953, and ended on January 1st, 1959, which was an event in history in which Castro created a movement in order to overthrow Fulgencio Batista and his regime, which at the start didn't go as well due to the movement's failed attack on the main barrack of Cuba, which had led Castro into getting incarcerated. However, this setback didn't make him falter in his attempts to overthrow Batista with an amnesty deal that was made with Batista, which Castro used to take a boat carrying himself and 80 other insurgents and a cache of weapons near the eastern city of Manzanillo, which has also failed and resulted in most of them being killed or captured. However, Castro, his brother, and Che Guevara, alongside a handful of insurgents, were able to escape to the Sierra Maestra mountain range, and in the beginning of 1958 they took key areas in Cuba, which made the Batista government to collapse and led Castro into becoming the president. This event was a big deal, especially for the United States. Castro was a Marxist-Leninist who believed in causing a revolution and to establish a socialist state before transitioning to a communist state. He also believed that smart countries should stand up to bigger, more powerful nations, which is why he became allies with the Soviet Union. This made things super tense, which in turn led to the Cuban Missile Crisis, which was one of the scariest moments of the Cold War. Basically, the US found out that the Soviet Union had put ICBMs in Cuba right near Florida. That freaked everybody out because a war could have started. Thankfully, it didn't, and the nuclear test ban treaty had taken away the ICBMs inside Cuba and Turkey, disabling the United States and the Soviet Union's ability to nuke each other. But it showed that Cuba, under Castro, had become a powerful country on a global stage. He stayed in power for decades and became a symbol for standing up against strong countries. And this was his favorite food, steak.
Now let's shift to Vladimir Lenin. This was Vladimir Lenin's favorite food. It was a common Russian dish called blini, which was basically just pancakes. Vladimir Lenin was born in 1870 in a small town living with a middle class family. He was a good student that grew up interested in politics after his older brother was executed for plotting an assassination on the leader. He spoke and studied a lot about revolutionary ideas, which got him into trouble, and soon after, he became the leader of a group called the Bolsheviks. They were people who wanted more rights and power for workers and poor citizens. The Bolsheviks were part of a bigger political group called the Russian Social Democratic Labor Party. The Bolsheviks, led by Lenin, believed in making big changes fast. The Bolsheviks spread their message through newspapers and rallies. Um, they got a lot of support because life in Russia was rough due to poverty. People were tired of being ignored while rich people lived comfortably. So when Lenin gave his speeches, people listened. Um, but they didn't want to wait. So in 1917, Lenin and the Bolsheviks took over the Russian government and removed the leader, who was like a king. That changed everything. Lenin believes resources should be shared equally. So after the revolution, he made the Soviet Union, which became the first communist country, and that inspired other leaders around the world, including Fidel Castro, to follow similar ideas. Lenin died in 1924, but his ideas and leadership helped shape politics for years. Um, and even today, people study what he did and how it affected the world. That's it. So we hope you learned something new.